everybody. Today we got a pretty good show for you. There's another arena hotfix coming in. Before anyone notices, yeah, I'm not emanating my normal energy today. I'm a little bit tired, feeling a little bit down today, but I hope my non-exuberant self will still amuse you guys. So I have a hotfix coming in. Hey all, here's our bit late 13.15 patch preview for arena balance changes. We wanted to continue making big swings at nerfing the top of the meta, and even bigger ones at buffing some of the struggling champions. The meta is in a much healthier spot after a hotfix on Tuesday. We recognize that many champions still need help though, including many assassins and longer ranged mages. Expect to see some of these big buff swings on those champions in 13.16 as well. So, for those of you who haven't been able to guess it, currently the meta is in a bit better of a position. I haven't played any games on it, unfortunately, yet, but they nerfed a lot of the top overperforming champions, and they said they're saying it that it's led to a much healthier meta. So they're doing a lot of buffs, which I'll go into, some nerfs, which I'll go into, some system changes, and this isn't a hotfix. So because this was yesterday, this should 100% without fail be live now. So let's go through what they did. Now, for those of you wondering why this is so low quality, that's not me. They uploaded it like this. It's probably been in a lower quality for you because it's now going to have to be recorded then uploaded to YouTube. So it'll be in an even worse quality for you guys. So they're the play test team, the game mode team, right? So cut them some slack on some of this stuff, right? Because they're not used to like uploading patch notes. I just think it's a bit amusing. So Rammus's Q, he's got a big buffs coming in here because he was basically useless in this game mode. Can he go from basically effectively useless to actually being useful? Well, probably not, because I mean he's just an anti-armor counter pick. So how are you gonna make an anti-armor counter pick actually good? To be blunt, you probably won't, but here's what they tried to do. His Q is now significantly faster. The rank, the startup movement speed, like when you just start queuing, is twice as fast. The movement speed after you charge it up is also twice as fast. So he's twice as fast in his Q. His AP ratio on his Q went from 100% to 125%. Expect to see funny one-shot AP Rammuses. The armor ratio he got from his W is back to where it used to be on live. For those of you who play Rammus and miss when he used to have 100% total armor boost, he now is back to having a 100% total armor boost, but only in the arena game mode. His magic resist is also boosted a bit. Instead of 30 to 50% magic resist, he gets 40 to 60%. A little bit of a boost there. The taunt duration has gone up as well from just a 0.4 increase. So it's now 1.6 to 2.4. The attack speed duration also matches because his E gives him attack speed, so it matches that duration. Then his ultimate AP ratio went from 60% to 100%. AP Rammus will do significantly more damage. He has way more movement speed. He has way more armor, and he has more taunt duration. So Rammus is significantly stronger now. Bard, I'm a bit confused on Bard. I'm going to be blunt. I don't really understand what they're doing here because they could have just given him chimes per round. I guess they're trying to keep the unique aspect of Bard where he needs to run around and collect chimes mid-battle, but I'm not sure that that's good for the game mode's health, that Bard is like encouraged to just run around and pick up chimes at the start of every fight. It's kind of awkward, and especially like in the later rounds, he definitely won't have enough time to do it, but we'll see. So basically, the chimes needed per upgrade tier went from 5 to 2, so he will scale significantly stronger. The Meep AP ratio went from 30% to 60%, so when he throws his Meeps at you, that will do significantly more damage. The W prep time, meaning the time for his W, the shrine, to do double healing, that went from 10 seconds to 8, and his W now gets 70 ability haste base, which is really good. The max Ws you can have on the map went from 3 to 33. Effectively, you can have unlimited shrines on the map. The amount of healing his W gets got doubled. Why is that so hard to say? Doubled as well. So you can have infinite shrines effectively on the field way more often, and they prep faster, and they heal for twice as much. His E, that's his tunnel, now also has 70 ability haste. Is this enough? Probably not. I mean, The Rammus changes were actually probably, they're like really good, but these changes are like, now maybe I'm wrong. Maybe like he can get way more upgrades and then throw meeps. I guess maybe that's the thing. I don't know. Ziggs, his W, that's his Satchel has 30 ability haste from 0, and then the amount of AP ratio on his mines went up from 30% to 40%, and then the slow on his mines went from 10 to 50 to 30 to 70%. Is this what Ziggs needs? Yeah, I mean, this actually looks pretty good. Yeah, no, I would agree. This is a pretty good buff. It does do a bit. Blitzcrank, I looked at these, and they're really, really big. So his passive literally got doubled. Instead of getting 1 shield for 1 mana that uses his passive, he got 2 shields for every 1 mana on his passive. So building mana on Ziggs will lead to very, 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 very big shields. The cooldown on his passive went from 90 seconds to 30 seconds. So he could potentially activate his Giga Shield passive, run away, get a shrine, or sorry, a plant, heal up a bit, or maybe his ally could heal up a bit. I don't know. Maybe he could use something to heal up, right? At either rate, he could heal up, and then he could actually get back to his passive a second time within a match, which that's pretty good. His Q also has a base 40 ability haste, which is pretty substantial. He'll be able to get way more hooks in a round, but because they give it ability haste, they didn't reduce its base cooldown. That means that as the game progresses, this will matter less and less, and I think that's why they do it. His R passive base damage, that means when it goes zhung, 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 when it hits him with the lightning, zhung, zhung, when it does that, that went from 50 to 150 to 60 to 160, so 10 more damage with 10 more AP ratio. Basically just trying to give him more damage for AP. Then the AP ratio on his active R went from 1 to 1.3, so big damage. Blitzcrank will now do big damage with AP, have more big shield, more knockups. So basically Blitzcrank got pretty big buffed here. Is it enough? Maybe, we'll see. Katarina got big buffed, just more damage. There's really no point to go through this, I'll be blunt. More damage on his Q, more damage on his W, more damage on his R, more damage on his R stacking. The only thing that didn't do no more damage was his Force Pulse. That thing doesn't do 1 damage. Zerath, his W base slow went from 25% to 40%. The enhanced slow has not been changed, so if he hits the edge of his W, it now slows by 40%, giving him much more ability to kite. The amount of damage per his ultimate stack went from 20 to 30 to 30 to 40, and that's it. Was that enough? Probably not, but we'll see. Katarina, there's a large list of changes coming in here for Katarina. I'm going to try to condense them and explain them pretty quickly. Oh boy. The way they do it is super awkward. Basically, Katarina's passive has more AD ratio. Katarina's passive reduces her cooldowns by more, probably to allow her to get to 2 ultimates, maybe? I'm not sure. Doesn't really do anything, because it's like, ooh, instead of 15 when you get a kill, it's 20. Like, who cares? Like, it's probably not going to give you a second ult, but we'll see. Her Q now has a higher AP ratio. Her E now has a higher AD and AP ratio, and her ultimate now has a higher AP ratio. So her passive does more AD, her E does more AD and AP, her Q does more AP, and her ult does more AP. Basically, if you go AD or AD Katarina, AP or AD, you will be significantly stronger. Akshan also has some big changes coming in here, some big buffs. Q went from 5 to 85 to 15 to 135. So his Q, when you put points into it, will do significantly more damage. The amount of health he revives teammates at, instead of 33%, will now be 60%. I'm not sure how I feel about them, like, emphasizing Akshan's revive, especially when it was so buggy. I don't know if they fixed the bugginess. I hope they do. If they're placing that much more importance on his revive, I'm hoping that they bug fixed it. The attack speed ratio coefficient on his E, that's his hookshot, went up considerably as well, and his ultimate AD ratio got doubled. So Akshan's ultimate will do more damage, his Q will do more damage, his revive will heal more, and his E will do more damage. Kosante, okay, now Kosante got the base cooldown on his Q reduced. He didn't get ability haste on it because it doesn't get affected by ability haste probably, so they needed a workaround, but the base cooldown went down. Now the max cooldown reduction you can get on his Q is probably still the same, but it might not be. I'd actually have to look into that because they might have screwed that up. Because Kosante can only reduce his Q cooldown to 1.75, but by reducing the base, they might have screwed it up. Not that I would have any information on that, just knowing Riot, they might have screwed that up. We'll see, but if it works as intended, it's now 2.75 to 1.75 instead of 3.5 to 1.75. In other words, Kosante's early rounds will be way stronger, and he won't be as reliant on hitting Outlaw's Grit to do anything. Now his E ability haste, well, his E got ability haste. So Constante will be significantly stronger in the earlier rounds, but won't be affected basically at all in the later rounds. So that actually helps a lot, because Constante really struggled at the early rounds if he didn't hit Outlaw's Grid. If he did hit Outlaw's Grid, he was viable. If he didn't, yeah, and having to hit one specific augment to be viable was no good. Up next, we have some big nerfs coming out here. Oh boy. Okay, so Kennen got giga nerfed. Kennen was kind of a sleeper hit who was dominating the arena. He would just lightning rush in and one-shot everyone. It wasn't very fun to fight. To be blunt, I don't think Kennen's very good for this game mode. Like health, like fun-wise. I think he's one of those champions that actually makes it worse when he's viable, because, you know, you basically get punished for being melee. He just runs in, ults, and you're dead. It's not fun. So his W active magic damage got nerfed, his W got nerfed, the bonus resists against his ultimate got nerfed, and then his R damage, his ultimate damage, also got nerfed. So Kennen will do a good significant chunk less damage and also be squishier in the late game. Good. I think Kennen is horrible for this game mode. He basically has no gameplay. Kale, instead of having minus 50 ability haste, will now have minus 100 ability haste. So I'm assuming they're talking about her ultimate, because they're talking about base damage. Her ultimate base damage went from 200 to 400 to 50 to 150. So her ultimate literally got its damage nerfed by almost 75% at every rank. So that's pretty big. Yeah, basically, in other words, there's almost no way that Kale can get 2 ultimates in a match. She can still pull Ultimate Revolution and get 2 ults, but even in that situation, with her ultimate damage nerfed by 150 to 250, it should be easier to actually play around. Kale, I'm gonna agree, I don't think Kale's good for this game mode. She's really unfun. Annie, Tibbers base HP is being reduced by 50%. I don't think Annie is like inherently terrible for the game mode. She's like simple and stupid, but I do agree that Tibbers was a huge problem. Not being able to kill Tibbers in a reasonable time meant that no matter what you did, Tibbers would do like half your health. In normal Summoner's Rift, you can just kite it out, run away, and then you just, I mean, you literally just run away, right? But in this game mode, you can't do that, so it's a bit of a problem. Wukong, okay, much like Kennen, Wukong's one-shotting was kind of ruining the game mode. I'm actually going to go message Tornado, my friend here. Because, yeah, actually, this is a really big deal. Wukong, okay, I'm actually looking at the list now. I didn't realize there's so many here. Okay, Wukong and Alistar and Poppy and Kennen. To be blunt, they were kind of ruining this game mode. I'm not saying like all of them were all ruining it, but I want to say like them as like a combined force, because basically people were picking one of those 4, picking them with the others, and then just one-shotting people, and it was like no fun. Annie too. I mean, actually, I would be blunt, these nerfs are a really good list. This is a really good list of nerfs. I actually agree with this really hard. So Wukong gets less base damage on his Q, less ability haste on his W, that's his clone, and less health damage on his ultimate. So he'll be able to shred tanks less, giving him maybe a bit more ability to be like, you know, the counter build, maybe anathemas, stuff like that, right? So he'll have more ability to be counter built. He'll hit less base damage, so he'll, you know, kill people less. He'll have less clones. So good nerfs on Wukong. Yorick, instead of the passive spawning green every 6 seconds, will be every 8. Then Ghoul health is reduced by 30%. So do remember, Ghouls die in 1 hit. So I'm not sure why they went after Ghoul HP. Maybe for AoE comps and AoE him to death. I'm not really sure. I'm gonna be blunt. I don't know. I don't get it. So whatever. Jax, the E ability haste, that's his counter strike. He will have less counter strikes. I'm not really sure Jax needed to be nerfed, particularly after his last base game nerf. That reduced his counter strike cooldown anyway, so I'm not really sure that was needed. Then the amount of damage he does on his ultimate procs has also been reduced rather significantly, from 60 to 160 to 40 to 120. So a 20 to 40 damage nerf every ult proc. That's a pretty big nerf on Jax. I guess maybe they didn't like how Jax was beating certain like auto attack comps too easy, but auto attackers are kind of dominant otherwise. So like my problem here is like I'm fairly certain after all these one shot comp nerfs, we're gonna see way more ADCs, because they still haven't addressed the fact that ADCs get way too big buffs early game. So, you know, it's like
if you have ADCs and they're really strong, but you got some comps that are keeping them down, and you nerf the comps that are keeping them down, well, they're just going to rise right up, right? To get it. So maybe they could have toned down like the attack speed you get early game, maybe the movement speed you get early game. Okay. So York nerf, Jax nerf, Heimerdinger nerf again. He's E that are those missiles? I think those are. God, Heimerdinger has been in this game for how long, and I don't know which abilities he has. His W's missile, his E is missile. Well, we're about to find out right now. His E is his grenade. Okay, so his grenade has less cooldown by having less ability haste. I should say it has more cooldown. Basically, his grenade will be on a longer cooldown, and his turret damage, sorry, his turret HP is reduced. I can speak. I'm good at English. I'm sorry. Okay. Corki, the duration of package has been reduced. So if you kite out Corki, you can actually potentially out-kite his package. This is kind of a big deal because what Corki would do right now, he'd poke you all day, and then if you ever tried to engage him, he'd just package. Because package was a CC immune mega damage ability that also CC'd enemies. In other words, Corki sitting at mid-range and poking forever, or I should say sitting at long range and poking forever, basically had no counterplay, because if you ever tried to do like a lightning rush or a Pantheon stun or anything like that, if you tried to like jump forward with Wukong, he would just package right through you, and there was basically no counterplay. This means that Corki now needs to play more aggressively. I'm not sure this balances him, but I do, if you're ever listening to me, Arena team, I do like nerfs like this more because they give you more actual counterplay and more ability to actually like beat a champion, and not just like that champion still is really annoying, but now he's less overpowered. Like, okay. Alistar, the W ability haste is down, the ultimate ability haste is down, the W is his knockback. I'm gonna be blunt. Alistar is really, really, really fun to play, but he's not that fun to play against. So making him less common by nerfing him is probably a good thing. That's all I can say. I also think they should maybe look into unnerfing tank items than nerfing some tank augments. High roll tank augments, even things like Infernal Conduit, are really goddamn broken. If you get Guilty Pleasure and Courage of the Colossus, so you're healing 4% per champion CC'd, shielding 6% per champion CC'd, it's like that high roll is absolutely insane. And there are some champions that literally just can't deal damage to that anymore. Like, they literally just will not be able to deal damage. Maokai versus WQ, that's 20% more health he has. And that's in addition to his passive. Like, you put that over his Spear Visage, and like every WQ, you're gonna have to punch out like 50% more of his health. It's impossible. It's literally impossible, right? So like on a high roll, it's just impossible. So I'm just saying that it's not 50%, it's more like 40%. But you get my point, right? So I think maybe Guilty Pleasure should be nerfed to only affect one champion. Courage of the Colossus should be nerfed to only affect one champion. So like, even if an ability hits two champions, it only heals and shields once, because we've seen, I've played a lot of tanks, and yeah, if you get Guilty Pleasure and Alistar Q heals you for 8% of your health, and all the way you have Spirit Visage, it's actually, you know, more like 10% of your health, because you stun, you know. I'm just saying, you know, because going forward, yeah. But Alistar definitely was a bit unfun to fight. Poppy was also a bit unfun to fight. With all the ability haste in the game, it was charge into a wall, then put up W so you can't gap close away, then charge into a wall again, then put up a W so you can't escape. So actually, I think this nerf is good too. Making people less capable of infinite comboing this is good, and makes Poppy significantly less frustrating to fight. Okay, now we're buffs to some items here. Guardian's Dirk is getting more lethality, which is, I'm going to be honest, probably a bit questionable, but we'll see. Staff of Flowing Water gives more movement speed, gives more AP, and gives more ability haste. Okay, I'm going to be honest, Staff of Flowing Water was a bit underpowered. Double Enchanter comps looked really good at first, but then as time went on, they were just blatantly underpowered, just like blatantly. Enchanter ADC was good, but double Enchanter, or basically Enchanter with Mage, or Enchanter with, basically Enchanter with anyone who was an ADC, was just kind of really underpowered. So I think buffing Staff of Flowing Water is a good idea, because like I never saw a point where I actually wanted to build it. Hextech Gunblade is being buffed, which is good. This item was actually worthless. It was like funny, because like people would build it and then like, haha, Omnivamp. But like, how useful is Omnivamp? In a pure 2v2 game mode, even at 20% Omnivamp, even if the Omnivamp was not reduced by AoEs, that would still mean you could heal 20% of the health of an enemy twice. So even over the course of an entire match, if you full health combo two people, you would only heal 40% of their health. That's not a lot. Okay, I promise you, that's not as much as you're thinking. Okay, and if you go healing debuffs and stuff like that, yeah. So Hextech Gunblade was just not worth a slot, and I never saw it, and nobody built it. The ability power is also going up, which is probably good. I think the attack, I think it could get some ability haste and probably be fine. The problem right now is I think Hextech Gunblade is just it's going to be negated, or I should say relegated. It will basically only be the funny Katarina one-shot item. So I think giving it some ability haste would be good to try to keep it out of only being Katarina's item and to be built more by champions like Jax, maybe Corki, stuff like that. I think also you could maybe change the Omnivamp. Instead of 20% Omnivamp, maybe make it like 12% total healing, so it's not reduced on AoEs, because Omnivamp gets reduced on AoEs, and I don't know if you guys know this, but like the only hybrid champion who doesn't AoE is like Jax. Corki AoEs, Katarina AoEs, Kennen AoEs. Do you get the problem here? The Omnivamp is not as useful even slightly as you think it is. Echoes of Helia is gigabuffed. This item was goddamn worthless in this game mode. The numbers were tracked correctly, and they were so pathetically low that there was literally no reason to ever go Echoes of Helia. Yeah. Earthquake is buffed? I thought Earthquake was overpowered. So I don't understand it. I'm just going to move past it. Perseverance gets more health regen. Base health regen on Perseverance from 500% to 600%. Amped regen from 1,000% to 12,000. Sorry, from 1,000% to 1,200%. I think that's a good idea. I think that's a really good idea. I think that Perseverance is still probably worthless. I'm going to be blunt. It was literally only good on Mundo because it was bugged and affected his ultimate. I'm gonna be completely honest. I think it should be based on the round timer. I think it should be 600% and then an additional 50% per round, because it's decent early game, but by late game it's goddamn worthless. Even if you combine it with stuff like the augment that gives you more levels to give you more health regen, it's insignificant. When you're starting to take 2,000, 3,000, 4,000 DPS, it does not matter that you're healing 100 health a second. Like, what are you going to do? Run away for 20 seconds to heal the amount of damage you took in 1 second? Do you understand how utterly insignificant? It's like throwing a pebble into a pond. Yeah, it'll make a splash. That's it. Nefiri, okay, so the Nefiri, when you get the Nefiri stage, it will do less damage, which is good. Nefiri stage sucked to play on. I'm going to be blunt. It sucked to play on. It was the least fun stage. The Lux stage was annoying, but it was like annoying in a funny way. The Nefiri stage is just annoying in a stupid way. Okay, Windspeaker's Blessing is nerfed as well. That makes sense. Windspeaker's Blessing probably gave a bit too much armor and magic resist, and especially if you could get to the point where you could double Windspeakers. Here's the thing, champions like Aatrox or even 80 carries could get Windspeakers, then anytime they dealt damage they get armor and magic resist. To be blunt, it was too much. And it was pretty frequent. I would just go Windspeakers on Aatrox, and like people would be like, and it was just like dink, 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 dink. They're just sitting there like, It's just like dink, dink. It's like that's it. That's Arena patch. Will this make Arena better? Definitely, 100%. I agree with this. Good changes. Good changes to the Ride Live design team. Thank you, everybody. Thank you for this video, because you guys made these changes. I'll try Arena mode again, but I have been playing a lot of Hearts of Iron lately, because it's funny to play with friends. If you want to play Hearts of Iron with me, join my main Discord and get the role and just put a message. It's open invite, so everyone doing that. So I'm going to probably do that later today. We might try Arena tomorrow or day after tomorrow. We'll see. So thank you all for watching. Thank you all for being here. Thank you, everybody. Leave a comment, leave a like. Have a great rest of your day. Thank you, everybody.